All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday Team Call. Glad to see your smiling faces. Let's get launched here. We've got a lot of ground to cover. So we're going to hit it quickly this morning and get everybody off on their Friday. Great week so far. Let's take a look. Oops, let me move some things around so I can see what's going on here. Zoom has moved my screen for me. All right, here we go. Let's hit some announcements. Great week so far. Now, these are numbers as of last night, so I do know we have more business pouring in, some business that was written last night, business that will be written today, but for sake of having this put together, we do have this filled out on Thursday evening, and then we do the Friday update. We will send that out on Mondays. You see that coming through as Ash puts that in. So far for the week, 29 applications, $28,268. Month to date, $96,513. 7 riders. Agency owners, Stella Dinwiddie agency with 11 apps so far for the week, 10,748. And the Menefee base shop at 18 applications, 17,519. Top producers so far, Sydney Lee, 2 applications, $1,578. Donna Bates, 3 applications, $3,393. Quick pause and a note. Donna sent me a note. She is on the way to the hospital with her husband for some screening, health screening. So you might say a prayer for them, and he's had some health challenges recently, so we want to keep Donna and her family in our prayers. So just keep that in mind. Spencer Cushion, 3 applications, $5,223. Stacy Love, 9 applications, $7,644. Tied with Stella on the app count, 9 applications. Great app counts, both of you. Stella Dinwiddie, though, leading on the APV with 9 applications, $9,169. Knocking on a 10K week. In fact, could very well be at 10K again. I know this is as of Thursday night, so I would say there's a high probability. If we're not there already, by the end of the day, we probably will be. So congratulations. Great job this week so far, gang. Role play training. Guys, we're having a really good time on Mondays. Hop on, join us. Sharpen your tools. Don't practice in front of the client. Practice with your friends and business colleagues, and sharpen your process. Welcome to the team. Team builders, make sure you're taking advantage of this. Leverage this. Again, this is not training. This is strictly welcome, making your people that you're bringing on feel part of the team, and giving them a chance to kind of step outside of the ramp-up process, the testing, the studying, trying to wrap their head around this business. We want to make sure that everybody feels welcome and part of the team. So Wednesday evenings, come and join me. I hate staring at a blank screen just by my little lonesome self. All right, standing lead orders. Guys, this is the fuel for your engine, for your business. Set up your standing lead orders. Just set one up with Switchboard here this last week. So I am pumped about the consistency of seeing those lead orders come through on a regular basis. Start building that pipeline. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well this morning. For those of you who want to continue leveraging the mortgage protection leads, you can see these states where we have capacity to increase. Call-ins have always been a great lead source for us, because much like the digital leads, which are instant call-in leads, that somebody that picked up the phone, they're ready to do something about this, or at least check into it. And so they're calling in. So that is a pretty quick turnaround on access to that lead. And I will say, folks, the lead price point on these call-in leads is much lower than the mortgage protection. So if you feel like you want to add leads, but you don't want to go the mortgage protection route for again, try to get more bang for your buck, call-ins are great options for you. make sure as we are entering these leads, I talked about this on the national call, but this is really important. I think a lot of times we just think, I'll just throw a reason or a disposition in for the lead that we put in the op. Doesn't really matter. Guys, you got to realize what we're doing on a corporate level, as this company grows and what they're putting in place, the hires that they brought in, the hire from Prudential, the person that took Prudential's data source and figured out how to increase the profitability for the company. And as we grow as a company, as we look to expand and maybe potentially become a publicly traded company or something more in the future, our data source, it's more than just about selling that policy and moving on down the road. If we know where that policy came from, we can now invest more dollars into making sure we get more of those leads in. So make sure if you get a lead that you're dispositioning it correctly, so we know where that lead came from, so we can continue investing in the company dollars into maximizing those returns. Okay. Advanced market leads, guys. Now you do have to be certified, but I will tell you, I just finished the IUL certification here not long ago. Was not difficult at all. I mean, it's just going through, understanding the process, watching the videos. DFL certification, annuity certification, a little bit more involved, but still very, very worthwhile. And so if you want to have access to razor ridge leads for these special markets, and I have not worked any myself, but I'm getting a lot of good feedback from some other agents who have worked them. So let's, you have an interest in advancing your business and maybe specializing a little bit more, this is a great opportunity for you. So take advantage of that. Another way to leverage those leads is the FIF reset, whether you want to be certified or if you don't, then the FIF reset is a way to basically take your existing leads and expand on the business that's being written without you actually having to do anything extra other than fill out a form. FIF Reset 101 is going to tell you how to best tee that up, how to set that up, how to make sure that you leverage, get the most out of your out of the leads that you are buying, and again, without putting any extra work in. Make it part of your process. And I don't know how many of you caught on the national leaderboards. They did a passive income leaderboard. People who had done FIF resets and were showing up on the leaderboards, getting paid additional money for doing nothing more than doing their usual appointment process. But as they did it, they filled out this form and it actually generated more revenue for them. So take advantage of that. Leaders Summit coming up in March. That is fast approaching. It's surprising how fast it's already approaching. But be making plans for 2 months out, less than 2 months out. So anybody who is key leader or above or qualifies either this month or next month as a key leader. So, for those of you who are building and, would love to be a part of this, and this really is a look behind the curtain. This is a deeper dive than, it's kind of talking about high level, what's in store for us in the future. So take advantage, get some riders. The key leader qualification is just 4 riders, yourself included. So 3 other riders beside yourself, and they don't have to be big riders. They can write their first application. And as long as you as a team, as a collective, have the APV to qualify for key leader, you'll get an invitation to this event. So be planning that out. Join us on Thursdays. We're having an awesome time with Stella and going through a great book. Probably coming up on the end of this pretty quickly, I would assume. But we've already got teed up an excellent follow-up book in the corporate book of the, I don't know if it's book of the month, book of the quarter. I'm not sure exactly how that timeline is working out, but Powerful Engagement is up next, I know. And so, man, just awesome material. And, that's an integral part of our system, is investing in yourself more than you do your business, and it will pay you huge dividends. Set socks. We want to keep this in front of you because I know a couple of agents have earned their socks here in the last week. In fact, I believe, according to my notifications, I think at least Stacy should have had a delivery. Hopefully that got to your house. And Stella, I believe yours are supposed to be landing today. So we'll have those gals post their sit socks. But here's the thing. So somebody said, I think Stella, maybe you suggest is like, hey, when you get 10-6, you get your pair of socks. As I've been shopping for socks, though, I have found so many excellent, I mean, just wonderful styles of socks that this can't be just a one-time thing. So we're going to run this at least through the end of February because I want to get out more socks. I've got a lot saved on my Amazon account, and I've got more styles that I need to give out. So keep going for the sits and get yourself a collection of sit socks, gang. And again, you will want to wear these to leaders retreat, to conference, anywhere where you can show off your earnings. So have fun and get some of those. Fall Classic, guys, the $100,000 competition, biggest in our company history. I would say probably one of the biggest in the industry. I don't know. There's some debate on that, but there would be very, very few contests out there that on the level of this. And we actually have some of our very own who are in the running. Now, keep in mind, all you have to do is get into the top 200 when they make the final push. So plenty of time. In fact, I would say once this gets updated, there will probably be some more from our team. In fact, I know there will be some more on our team who will be showing up in these rankings. But so far, these are the ones that we've identified. And just get in that 200 for the final push. And at that point, the slate is cleared. It is reset, and everybody, all 200, have that opportunity to go out and earn an extra $100K on top of what you're already doing. Guys, plenty of time. Again, this is open for anybody and everybody to get into that top 200 ranking. So time to get involved in that. Conference building up to August 9th through 11th, and kind of that next milestone in the growth, your personal growth, development in this company, and a lot's going to happen between now and then. So hit the done button, get signed up for that, get ready, and have your plans made. Get ready to join us in Denver, August 9th through 11th. This one just came out Wednesday. This looks amazing. I don't know how, I don't even know if I can put words to this. This is just, the Interlaken, Switzerland, and just the pictures alone, which pictures never do locations like this any justice, but the pictures alone are just pretty amazing. So one of our core carriers, a company that you could literally write almost all of your business with on all of your clients if you just make the decision to do it. And I think you'd be doing right by your clients. Let's not get hung up in price shopping, because if you sell on price, you get beat on price any and every time. You sell on value, and American Amicable is a high value company. In business since 1909, A-rated company, wide variety, wide suite of products, company that's going to be there to pay those claims, at that time when that family is going to need it. So help your families, and in the process get sent to just a class 5 top level resort to one of a kind experience, guys. So this is exciting. Meetings, announcements. So we have keep an eye out. This is something new that we are doing, that Ash is sending out, and she will be sending that out in your inbox. Just kind of a summary of what's coming up. Do make note, next Friday we will have the Make Hierarchy. That was Scott's traveling, so we thought that was going to be today. think we announced that last week and then realized he wasn't getting back till I think tomorrow or over the weekend. So anyway, that shifted. So we now have the make hierarchy meeting next week. The week following, a very, very secret special guest, but somebody who you all will be absolutely blown away with when we announce who this person is. It is a 130. It is an equity partner. And so, yeah, that's going to be a very, very special meeting. So, all right, I'm going to take, I think this is the end of the slideshow. Yeah, I'm going to take a pause here. Any of you team builders, team leaders, want to take a moment, any announcements for your crew, shout outs, welcomes, all that fun stuff? Let's hear from some of the team.
I just have a quick shout out to all the folks that are on this call, particularly the Feldsteins and Timmy. Just showing up and being consistent every week is so important. So even just being here makes a huge difference in your business, whether you've started or not. So shout out to all of you that are here, but especially those that are connected to the Love Agency.
Yeah, beautifully said, Stacy Starr. Showing up is, showing up is so key, so key. I mean, that's how I learned so much when I first started before we had summit or base camp training. I thank you so much, Chris, for all of your awesome information, especially about Switzerland. I love what you said about having more value placed on the focus of helping your families versus price. We can all get caught up in that, even me at times, running an SBLI. And of course, that is important, but if you attend the training seminars through AMAM, you're going to see all the different living benefits and a lot more benefits that they can get, waiver of unemployment premiums. You'll learn all of that. But I just wanted to give a quick also shout out to some amazing people here. I'm super duper excited. Sydney has been on this race and she is doing such an amazing job. And I just, sometimes you don't see all the effort on the leaderboards for a lot of you. A lot of you starting or a lot of you going through the trials of what we do here, folks. I will tell you, we all go through them. Every one of us do. The winners, the people whose success here, I can't stress it enough, are the people who don't give up on themselves, who push through, who will continue to keep their eyes focused on the basics. The basics are activity, are massive action, constant correction, and surrounding yourself with people who believe in you. That's what you have here. Everybody here supports you, believes in your dreams that are deep in your heart that you came here for. And I can't stress that enough. I am so grateful. My family right now is cheering me on for the trip to Switzerland. I've made up my mind. I'm going. I will do whatever it takes. I'm committed. I'm committed to a lot of other goals here in helping my team, helping Jim become agency owner this year. That's his goal. We're doing it. Sydney is growing her team. Greg is growing his team. He is up and running. Man, if you saw his goals, we're still in the month of January, which is the month of goals for everybody starting off the new year. And I just can't stress how to keep that forefront in front of your eyes, day in, day out, week in, week out. All the business I've been writing has been on bonus leads. Bonus leads. This last week, the week before, and I've been creating this momentum. You heard Rex Knight Jr. that Chris was talking about last week with building, momentum through follow-up and through just being consistent. That's one trait, one characteristic, one of my superpowers is being consistent, because I am nothing My team will tell you, I am no intelligent person. I'm nothing. Those numbers only come from my consistency, my belief, what I'm feeding my mind daily through self-development. And if that's what you want, it is yours. And I just can't stress that enough. So thank you so much for just letting me share a piece of my heart with you all, Chris.
Absolutely. And that was actually perfect. Stella, that's an excellent segue into our call today. Got some great content to share with you. And, one of the hallmarks of, I think, of sharing great content is I tell people all the time, I've never had an original idea in this business. I've always borrowed from somebody else. And I'm borrowing again today. But I've been really digging in. In fact, you guys are probably getting tired of hearing me say this, but I've been listening because he's been putting out amazing content. But lately, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, following a lot of his stuff on YouTube. Highly recommend. If you haven't plugged in today after the call, just go on YouTube, grab one of his videos, and just start listening. And he's actually got a book that's coming out. Again, borrowing titles. 10x is easier than 2x. That book is coming out. It's not even released yet, but a lot of his content that he's talking about here lately on YouTube is related to that book. I'm excited. It comes out in May, I think. As soon as it's available, I'm getting my hot little hands on it and going to be diving in. But in the meantime, I'm not waiting for that to come out. I'm going to be digging into the material that he's putting out right now. And the idea, 10x, 10 times growth is easier than 2x. And what's behind that? Well, as Dr. Hardy talks about, why is 10x easier than 2x? Because 2x a lot of times is just simply a doubling. If we talk about like a work week, well, if I work 40 hours a week, can I get more done if I work 80 hours a week? Well, yes, I can. But is that efficient? Is that effective? Because if I go from 40 to 80 and I continue, I want to grow, I want to build, I say, well, okay, when I want to go to 160 hours a week, that's it. That's 2x. Is that sustainable? No, no, not at all. How many hours are in a week? If you don't know, it's 168. So at some point, even if I'm able to double my activity, at some point, my capacity runs out. I just do not have the capacity to continue doubling over and over again. So what do? We have to compress, 10x, we have to multiply and, get more done in less time. And the thing that I want to impress upon you all is we are in a 10x business model. That's the thing about what we have our hands on with, with this symmetry quality system. Our business is built for 10x. Our business is built for leverage. And you've got that track to run on, you can easily turn up or down the volume based on where you want to go. And we have proof positive of that. That's not just theory. We actually have proof. And I love, Stella, that you bring this up. Rex Knight Jr. from a call on Wednesday talking about his $100,000 month in December. Guys, $100,000. How did he do that? Did he work 80 hours a week? Did he work 160 hours a week? Well, if you heard the conversation on Wednesday, no, he didn't. He didn't. He may have worked a little bit more, but it really sounds like, in fact, he made a point of talking about how, he is very committed to his family. He's very committed to his community. He's very committed to his church. So he had to keep all that capacity there. So how did he 10x his results? Well, he leaned heavily on the system. If you paid attention, and look, Rex is, I've recommended his training to a lot of people. If you go on SoundCloud, the Symmetry SoundCloud, he's got some great calls from back in the days when we did a Monday sales training. And I highly recommend you go listen to him. But if you listen to him, there's nothing really that earth shattering. I mean, he's got a very solid process. And you could tell he follows the same process every time, which is something where I think a lot of us fall short. We're trying to, chase that, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, that special verbiage or that, that magic phrase that's going to close every client every time. But you listen to somebody like Rex Knight Jr., who is just as steady as they come. And he does the same presentation every time, the same way every time. and then just lets the numbers fall where they will. But how does he turn up the volume? Well, he gave you the formula. I mean, we spent an hour on the call, but if we really consolidate, if we had to boil it down, he went from 10 A leads a week, and he added 15 Razor Ridge, which means he went to 25 A leads essentially a week. He just turned up the volume on the input, and his outputs grew. Okay, and again, that's one example. But we don't have to take. We could say, well, Rex is a one-off. I mean, he obviously has some magic potion figured out, and he's able to do something that nobody else has done. Except we know that's not the case, because we have other case stories that prove. Because we can look at Ashley Richard, who was actually on Stella's call, her team call here, earlier this week, Stella. And she's on a mission right now to write $300,000, I think, in the first quarter. So basically $100,000 a month for 3 months in a row, or an average of that. But Stella asked her, okay, well, what's your lead flow look like? What did she say? Well, my order, it doesn't always get filled, but my request to the company is for 50 a week. So, yeah, and trust me, this gal works hard. This is not taking anything away from what she does, but again, she's only has the same 24 hours in the same 7 days that we all have. What did she do? She turned up the heat. She turned up the gas on the system to 10x her results.
And she homeschools 2 small children, and she's a single mother.
Yeah.
Coming off of food stamps 3 years ago.
She's got probably less time than any of us, quite honestly, when it comes right down to it. So that 168 hours a week, she's got a lot of those hours already allocated to other areas. We could go back to, and he's not a high level producer right now. I think he still produces quite a bit, but certainly not at his peak. But Sean Kim, did a call about 3 years ago now. I mean, time escapes me, but it was kind of one of the first light bulb moments for me 3 or 4 years ago, when I'm hearing this guy who's consistently, writing $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month, and everybody is asking, man, what are you doing? What's that? What's that phrase? What's that presentation? And he's like, yeah, my lead order is 50 a week. That's my request to the home office. And as you hear this over and over again, you get this confirmation of the top performers. Yeah, I'm sure they've got a process they follow, and they're very consistent, and they do a good job, and probably have a follow-up process in place. I mean, they're very regimented in what they do, but the reality is their inputs are so much bigger. They're leaning on the system, and so you have to think, when you look at 10x versus 2x, you have to really get outside that linear box. And I know, for a lot of people, especially somebody maybe it's new starting up, or maybe you're struggling, you're trying to figure this thing out. You say, but gosh, I mean, you're asking me to spend money on 50 leads a week? No, I'm not. I think it'd be great if you get to that point, especially if you want to run at that level. But what if you're taking 10 leads, and what if you add, every time you make a sale, you add one more to your order? You go from 10 to 11, or maybe you go from 10 to 12, and then you get that extra sale. And instead of taking that money and trying to run and rush and pay off bills, I'm not saying don't put your bills off, but I'm saying before you do, maybe you go buy another 5 leads, and now you go from 10 to 15. And you turn around and you quickly multiply that into more apps and more business. And you get used to running at that level of 15. You start banking that money, and you start taking care of bills and meeting your obligations. But now you stretch that a little bit further, and you go from 15 to 17. Nobody's asking you to go from 5 to 50. But what I am saying is, if you want to multiply your results, you have to multiply your inputs. Now, there is something to be said for, for how do you spend your time? Again, as I talk about these top level performers, are they just, going out and buying 50 leads and just, hammering the phones and going crazy and willy-nilly and no process? No, they've got a very defined process in place. In fact, the other thing that Dr. Hardy talks about is how you spend your time on the 80-20 rule, because 80% of your results, your top level results, come from 20% of your inputs, your best 20%. So if you divide everything that you do, it divides into 80-20. 20% is going to be high value, 80% is going to be low value. And how much are you putting into those high value activities versus those low value activities? I was at a conference in Tucson back in 2019, and Sean went blank on his last name. Anyway, I'll circle back to that. No, not Sean Kim. It's Larry and Ann Griffin's team. Drawing a blank. Anyway,
John Shannon.
Shannon, thank you. Yes,
I love him.
I love him too, and can't believe I just forgot his name. But he was talking about a lot of people coming into this business, and it is a business where you can really control your income. And that's a place that a lot of people haven't been. They've had somebody else tell them how much they're worth. And a lot of people have that dream. Well, I want to make $250,000 a year, or $500,000 a year, and that's very much doable. But you have to look at what does that equate to, especially if you're coming from a background where you've been paid hourly. Well, at $250,000 a year, that's roughly $125 an hour if you're talking about a 40-hour work week. And as Sean was talking about, hey, you want to earn that $250,000, and that's very attainable and achievable. But what are your inputs? Are your activities $125 an hour activities? Because I think too many times to save, we're tripping over dollars to save pennies. We're not leveraging the systems and the things that we have in place, and sometimes we're not making that investment. Maybe it's a VA, a virtual assistant, or something where we can take some of those low-level activities, some of those 80% activities that don't get us the results that we need, and we're trying to do everything. That's a big trap in entrepreneurial mindset, or in the entrepreneurial world. In fact, there's a book called The E-Myth that was written several years ago that talks about most people who go out and start a business aren't really entrepreneurs. They just created a job for themselves instead of working for somebody else. And you see that because they go out and they try to do everything. I see Timmy on the screen. I think Timmy, you came from the restaurant industry, if I remember right. You've been around that. The thing of the restaurant owner that is bussing tables, in the back cooking, greeting people, managing the books, doing the ordering, running the schedule. That restaurant, that's not a restaurant. That's a food truck. Yeah, right. Right, Timmy. That's somebody that's going to off themselves because it is not sustainable. And so sometimes we have to lean into this idea of becoming a business owner. We're owners because we own it. And I don't care if you don't have a team or have no interest in building a team. You're still a business owner. You're now the owner of you agency, and helping your people. And, so as we look at this, are your activities that you're doing, are they $125 an hour activities, or $250? If you're a $500,000 earner, are you doing the $250 an hour activities? Or are you doing the $15 an hour activities? How you do anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're always trying to shortcut, if you're always trying to cut corners, you're always trying to take everything on, you've put a lid on your capacity. You will never be able to grow or break out. And it takes a lot. Guys, trust me. I mean, it takes a lot to step outside that comfort zone to say, you know what, I don't know where I'm going to get the funds to grow my business, whether it's be invest more in leads or invest in an assistant or invest in my education, sign up for a Tony Robbins seminar or travel across the country to go to a conference, spend a few $100s, a few $1,000s in travel and hotel and take time out of the field, or go to personal development. But that's part of the 20% activities that are going to get you the 80% results. That's literally what makes that possible. There's a book that Dr. Hardy talks about. It's called The Gap in the Game from Dan Sullivan, who's a business entrepreneur coach. And, he talks a lot about, the gap in the game. The gap is, well, think of it in these terms. A lot of us get caught up in the gap, which is, think of a student who goes and takes a test and they get a 95%. And they're devastated because they didn't get 100%, because they're so caught up in the fact that they missed it by 5 points, and they're missing the game. That 95% that they got there. Now, that's not to say we ignore the other 5%. We don't take a look at it. We work on that. But I think it's important in this process to I think a lot of times we get caught up in this comparing to what, I mentioned Rex Knight Jr. or I mentioned Ashley Richards or Sean Kim. And, instead of looking at that and being inspired by that actually we get deflated. It's like, well, I'm not them. I'm not, I'm not all that. And, it's important to, number one, acknowledge your gains. I don't care where you're at in this business. Maybe you just passed your test and you're waiting for your license. Or maybe you got your license, you made a few calls. Maybe you've made a few calls and you set a few appointments. Maybe you set a few appointments and you may have written one app. Maybe you've written a bunch of apps. Maybe you're a top producer, but you're not an elite producer, or you're a team builder, but you're not an agency owner. Wherever you're at in that journey, you've got to, I've said this over and over again, we're in a really a business that's in a lot of ways a very tough business. Don't mean that in a derogatory meaning. I mean, it is a tough business. So the fact that you've accomplished, even getting a license, you got to celebrate that gain. If you jumped on the phone, even though you're shaking and sweating and you couldn't keep your voice steady when you were talking to that first client, the fact that you made that call, that's a huge gain. And if you jumped on and you made a 200 dial a week, but you struck out and you didn't get a single appointment set, you gained. You're making gains in that process. You got to keep stacking those gains. And so that's where the gap in the game, you got to acknowledge those gains. Now we have to look at the gap. We want to continue to improve. So you have to be real about your goals and where you want to get. Because goals affect wherever you are. Now I'll say that again, goals affect wherever you are, and that's any goal. A goal that's too small is going to result in too small results. So take a look at your goal and be realistic about it. So we get, let's talk about what does that look like. So let's say somebody on the call says, well, I want $10,000 a month deposited in my account. So the beautiful thing that I've always appreciated about this business and about our system specifically is we can reverse engineer that. We can tell you pretty closely exactly what has to happen to get to that. And that's, guys, that's huge, because not a lot of businesses will give you that kind of certainty. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and there are a lot of ways to make money, but very few can reverse engineer to the level that we can. And I'll demonstrate that for you, because, if I want $10,000 deposited, I'm going to have to write, and again, I'm basically basing this off of average. I'm going to have to write around $18,000 on a starting contract. We're going to have to submit about $18,000 to get $10,000 deposited. That equates to about 18 applications written in a month. Well, to get to 18 applications, I'm going to have about 51 sits, 51 conversations. If I have 51 conversations, well, not everybody shows up for their appointment. So that means if I talk to 51 people, that means I had probably about 85 appointments actually scheduled, because I had some that just didn't show up. Well, if I had 85 appointments scheduled, not everybody I talked to was just ready to ready to meet with me that day. That means I talked to a lot of people and said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to meet with you. So that means I had to talk to about 214 different people throughout the month. Of that 214, only 85 said yes. The rest said no, sorry, either not now or not ever. Well, not every person I called picked up the phone. Surprise, surprise. Some of you who started working leads were shocked to find out that every time you picked up the phone and dialed the number, there wasn't somebody smiling on the other end wanting to talk to you. In fact, you had to dial quite a few. And the reality is you had to dial about 714 dials on average to talk to 214 people, to get 85 appointments set, to get 51 to actually show up on screen or get on the phone and actually talk to you and hear you out, so that you could get 18 applications written at $18,000 APV, so that some of them got shot down in underwriting, but you netted out about 10 grand deposited in your account. Now that's being real with the numbers. And I think a lot of times, a lot of us hope and dream, we have hopium. I hope I make $10,000. I hope I make $20,000. I hope I get my 10 sits. But the reality is we have to reverse engineer that. You have to understand the gap in the game. You have to understand, okay, here's what I've accomplished. That's good. But here's where I need to get. And here's what it's going to take to get there. And know those numbers. Be real with yourself and be honest with yourself to get there. But at the core of all that, it takes belief. It takes belief that you can actually get there. And so that's the last thing that I'm going to talk about, because as I was listening to Tony Robbins yesterday, he said, anything that I attach I am to, I become. So I am not good on the phones means I'm not going to be good on the phones. I am good on the phones means I am good on the phone. I am somebody who could set 15 appointments. I am somebody who could set 20 appointments. I am somebody who can figure out how to invest in an extra 5 leads over that 10. Or I am somebody that just doesn't have enough money and I can't grow. Anything I add, I am to, I become. So beliefs create and beliefs destroy. Belief, we use that word a lot of times. Belief is universal. We all have beliefs. Are your beliefs taking you higher? Are your beliefs taking you lower? Because the good news is you can control everything about this business. It's not easy. I'm going to be very, very honest. Some of you are brand new, haven't written an app, and I'm just going to be honest with you. It's not easy, but it's very predictable. And sometimes it takes just a little bit, extra effort, a little bit more headache and tears, but it will happen if the belief is there. So beliefs create and beliefs destroy, but you can control and you can create and you can influence that belief. The last thing I will leave you with, and again, this comes from Tony Robbins, a series I was listening to yesterday. But complexity is the enemy of execution. So decide what you need, draw the plan, and then determine to do it. And that's where this concept of 10x is easier than 2x really boils down to. And the good news is, as you dig into something like the Dr. Hardy videos, or you listen to a Tony Robbins, or you read Dan Sullivan's, and we're all this great inspirational material. A lot of people that are taking that in right now, are in a position where they're having to decide what's that vehicle that's going to get me where I need to go or where I want to achieve in life and succeed and financially, professionally, success. And congratulations to every one of you on here. You've already found the vehicle. Now you just need to plug in those inputs that you need to 10x your outputs. It's there. And if you have any concern or question about how to do that for you individually, because everybody's goal is different. And I use that number, that 10 grand. Guys, for some of you, it may be half that. For some of you, maybe 5 times that. And again, what I love about this system is, hey, you tell us what you want that outcome to be. We'll tell you exactly the trail that you need to run to get there. So gang, that's what I had to share with you this morning. Didn't know how long I was going to take. I probably talked a little faster than I normally do, but I've kind of obviously have been listening to a lot of stuff lately, so you can tell I'm in pump mode, and so it tends to cause a little bit of a speed up of the conversation. But I know a lot of you have got big days lined up. I've got a lot on the plate, and so I would say we get done a little bit early. That just gives you more time to go out and 10x your results. So thank you all for joining in. And again, if you want to plug into myself, any other team leads, take the time to do that. Understand what you want out of this business and let us help you get there. All right, gang. Thank you all. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Still Tuesday of next week to get business issued to count for the month for promotions. So plenty of time writing instant decision business to be able to level up to get what you want out of this business. So thank you all. Have a great Friday.